celebration stream commemorating the end of The Walking Dead as a franchise, and just, you know, sharing my favorite memories of the show, some of my favorite episodes, talking about my favorite characters, just really just having a good time remembering the original mainstream Walking Dead show. We're going to jump onto director mode and jump as my own version of Rick Grimes. I am very much thinking of also this stream will contain spoilers, just because the series is ending and I don't really want to be holding back. Episode's been out 4 days, you know. I am gonna at some point try and get my PlayStation Plus back work up again. I haven't paid for it simply because I'm a student, or I'm a uni student, and you know, they aren't very wealthy people. But yeah, no, I am gonna obviously jump back into PlayStation Plus, etc., because I do want to change my outfit again. I have been playing as a Season 5 Constable Rick for the past year, I think. Yeah, about that. I've not changed the outfit since. Yeah, it's just been a long time since I last changed the outfit. Obviously, I want to get the beard back as well, because he's got quite the light stubble. I do want to get the beard back, and just really start getting the Rick vibes back again for future content. Would also like to try and create his season 11, his final season look as well. I feel like it'll be easier to just make outfits from, you know, seasons 1 through 9, and obviously his new series coming out next year. But yeah, I just I think it would be nice just to kind of, it would be nice just to you know, make more outfits for Rick. And it would be cool as well to at least try and attempt a final season Rick look. Yeah. I don't really know where to start on this stream. I think I'm just going to talk about, for now, my favourite episodes. I think I did a top 10 about 2 years ago on my favourite episodes, and obviously the series was on season 10 at that time. You know, so I guess now is the best time to really update it, because obviously the series has now ended. You know, we now have every single episode of the original Walking Dead branch. I feel like doing favorite Walking Dead episodes throughout the entire franchise is just a bit ridiculous, because, you know, you're taking into account Fear the Walking Dead, which is on 8 seasons, The Walking Dead World Beyond, which is another 2 seasons, Tales of the Walking Dead, which is just 6 anthology episodes. Then you've got 107. So you're looking at least like nearly 400 episodes, taking into account all the spin-offs as well. A lot of episodes of this show, man, like a lot. So for me personally, I would like to just do a top 10 or possibly even top 5 favorite episodes of The Walking Dead. I know for a fact that the original number 1 has now been moved to number 2, which I'm very, you know, at first I was like, emotions and stuff, I thought, oh, do I really think that, or, you know, is it, oh god, do I really think that, or, you know, do I actually think that season 9 episode 5 has now been moved to number 2 as my favourite episode? And truth is, I genuinely think it has. It's no, I'm not gonna lie. Spoiler alert: number 1 of whenever that video is now Rest in Peace, instead of What Comes After. Rest in Peace obviously being the series finale, which is perfect title, honest to god. I was originally hoping for Years Gone By, just for that kind of, you know, parallel to the first one, but I think we got enough parallels to the pilot with this show anyway. especially in a series finale. I feel like it was just wonderfully done. I would love to do like start shooting up somebody and oh god, I killed someone. Nice. Yeah, no, I genuinely love the title of. I just love the whole episode. To be honest, I think it was the perfect finale. Because yeah, there were certain things I really wanted, which I didn't get, but at the same time, wouldn't have been realistic if we did. You know, I would have loved Rick and Michonne to be involved in the final battle, but I'm like, they're not there at the moment. You know, that's just doing the loop de loop. Yeah, just honestly, I feel like the way that the final episode just kind of wrapped things up for me. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen, you know, Rick and Michonne back in the final battle. Judith reunited. I feel like just getting Rick and Michonne was enough because the franchise isn't over. If the franchise was over, there was no more Walking Dead content, then I feel like the finale would have been very different. You know, I don't see anything really staying the same. Oh god, it's happened again. I think the only thing that would have probably stayed the same is, you know, Judith and RJ becoming the main focal point, because obviously that's quite reflective of the Walking Dead comic book series, which, might I just add, I am so happy that the TV show had virtually nothing of a resemblance to the comic book ending. Virtually nothing. We had RJ and Judith still as children. We only had a 1-year time jump, which I thought was good. I don't think we needed like a 35-year time jump. I feel like when the franchise does come to an end, then we see a 35-year time jump. But this is the whole franchise in an entirety, you know. Rick and Michonne's story, Daryl's story, you know, Maggie and Negan's story, Carol's story. Well, technically Carol's story's now kind of come to a close until she's revisited in the spin-off. In a spin-off, if Melissa McBride does decide to come back. But you know, like Fear the Walking Dead, Tales of the Walking Dead, when the franchise just officially comes to a close, that's when we need to see things like, oh, Rick and Daryl reuniting, Rick and Judith reuniting, Daryl and Carol now reuniting, because obviously they've just parted ways for the first time. Well, for the first time ever, really, you know, because we have had long periods of times throughout seasons where Daryl and Carol haven't been together and they have reunited. However, I feel like this is different because obviously it's the end of the series, so next time we see Carol, we don't actually know when. I feel like Melissa McBride is going to take a much well-deserved rest, you know, a massively deserved rest. Like, she has been grinding out the story of Carol Pelletier for well over a decade now. That woman, I feel like they all deserve a bit of a rest, but her reasoning for not coming back made the most sense, and I'm glad they didn't kill her off as well. She got, in my opinion, the perfect ending for Carol's story, but definitely an open ending. It kind of like some of the better exits on EastEnders, you know, because the character. The thing is, it's not even just Carol I can say that about. It's well, everyone that survived. Almost, you know, everyone bar Rosita, Luke, and Jules. Which, I do want to talk about Rosita for a minute because I didn't really give her much of a spotlight. Like, I did talk about her in the finale, you know, post-finale thought stream. But just Rosita as a character, she, honest to God, she has been one of my favourites. She has probably been in my top 5 favourite characters of season 11. Her character was just written beautifully. you know, and she went out like a badass as well. Um, her death is, I kind of wish Carl got something similar, because obviously he got bit as well. But just Rosita went down fighting, and she won the fight, and then she revealed obviously she got bit, but just the way it was done was gorgeous, and I'm so happy with the way they did that. But yeah, thank you so much, Christian Serratos, for everything you've done on The Walking Dead for the last, I want to say 7 years, but I think it's longer. I think about 8 years. Yeah, about 8 years. I feel like, yeah, I think it's 8 years you've been on the show. I just thank you for everything. That, honestly, Rosita is, you know, she's one of the best characters for many reasons. She is absolutely stunning, both inside and out. She is extremely, extremely selfless. She's just very complex, she's a very organic character. And what I mean by that is that she's one of those characters that, oh, I feel bad now. She's one of those characters that just brings so much to life, you know. She brings the fight, the spirit, the maternal instinct, you know. One of my favourite scenes of Rosita in recent memory is the scene where Rosita's consoling Judith over... Oh, that didn't go as well as I hoped. So just to blow it all up, Rick Grimes style. When Judith is having a bit of a breakdown because it was the thing that Carl made, wasn't it? The wooden plank, yeah. The wooden plank that Carl made had broke during a huge walker storm. And Rosita was just such a beautiful scene, honestly. Oh my, well, that worked out well. Yeah, I just loved it. I genuinely loved it for everything it was and more. Yeah, yeah, Rosita's just definitely been a favourite character over recent years. I particularly loved her in season 7 when her and Sasha would you know, set the differences aside and then obviously work together to try and take down Negan and the Saviors to avenge Abraham. Season 8 she wasn't used as much. I was so happy that she lived in season 9. I was so scared for her during the build up to the Pike scene, because obviously in the comic books Rosita is you know, she does fall victim to the she does fall victim to the Pikes, and that's, you know, it's pretty tough. But just the way it was done, she went out like a badass, as she should have. I would have been annoyed if she just fell and then the walker started devouring her and Coco. A lot of people were convinced that she was going to go down the whole Laurie comic book death, which is a very gruesome death. I actually have that comic book where Laurie and Judith died. That was a horrible scene to read. I'm glad the show didn't adapt that, otherwise we would just have a comic book replica and I would have been very disappointed. Yeah, I would have been very disappointed if this final season went anywhere near the comic book story, because honestly, virtually nothing from the comics was carried over. You had elements from Michonne's arc, which was carried over, because obviously in the comic books Michonne finds her long lost son. In this instinct it was Yumiko and her brother, which I thought was fine. But then nothing else really remained the same, and I'm glad about that, because I say it once, I say it again. The comic ending sucked. It was abysmal. you just have a spoilt brat come in and shoot the main character like that after everything that character has been through. Everything Rick Grimes has been through just to be put down by a spoilt little git. I'm so glad that nothing of that sort happened. Sebastian died in literally the second episode of the final 8. Like, literally the second one, that little twat died. Excuse my French. Lance Hornsby as well. I thought he was a good villain. However, I feel like his death at first felt a bit rushed, but then the finale kind of redeemed it, because Lance did come back as a walker, and then Pamela was obviously considering of taking her own life and just letting Lance kill her. And I'm glad they didn't go down that route. And speaking of Pamela, she is my one criticism with this final season. I have to say, I think she's the worst villain. She definitely a good villain, but I just feel like she was quite weak. She felt too much like the governor. And I know she was obviously Governor Milton. She was the governor of the Commonwealth, but I just think that. Alright, yeah, oh my god, that was badass and both brutal at the same time. Oh my god, I wish I recorded that. But the governor was so great because he did what he set out to do. The governor was just a fantastic villain. But Pamela just felt too much like she was trying to be like him. And I didn't really like it, because we don't need another governor. We've got our governor. Alright, yeah, he was killed off. He was killed off 8 years ago, but at the same time, we got our governor. So what's the point in trying to force someone else to fill that shoes when the shoes were filled perfectly in that door? And this is a problem I have with the comic books, because we didn't need a Pamela Milton. We didn't need it. We didn't need the Sebastian Milton. We've had some amazing villains. We've had Alpha, we've had Negan, we've had Shane, we've had the Governor, the Wolves, the Reapers. The Reapers were badass. Honestly, I would have loved it if the final season was just about the Reapers. They gave that clear, ex-military kind of vibe. They wore badass masks. It would have been a nice change of pace from the Whisperers, because the Reapers were also quite technologically more advanced, which I kind of feel like, for me, it resolved a bit of an issue I had with the Whisperer arc, and that was like, they have guns, and not just that, but they have Eugene, who can create bullets. So why did they not just use their guns against the Whisperers? Because they would have literally... Thing is, Daryl even said it during the meeting of the Whisperers, where he's like, we got enough firepower to light you up. It's like, yeah, exactly, so why didn't you use it? Yeah, I found it... Either way, I found it... The Whisperers was an amazing arc, and I do miss it. I do miss the Whisperers being a big threat, but at the same time, it just ended really well. The finale of Season 10 and the end of the Whisperer War, I feel it was the best, plot hole destroyer for that, because they had no guns on them. They were stuck in the hospital. But yeah, I just loved the way they dealt with it. And going back to the finale, the way they dealt with those variant walkers was genius. I loved it. I do wish that the variant walkers were used more. I feel like only 2 characters dying from the variants was a bit... Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have killed off the likes of Lydia. I need a newer character. I wouldn't have killed off Aaron or Lydia. That just... to me, that doesn't really sound like a good idea. That sounds a bit lazy. But Yeah, I just feel like that with yeah. Right, I'm going to fight the well, in my head canon the CRM because sorry, as I was saying, yeah, the finale dealt with the variant walkers as a threat really well. And I guess blowing up the Commonwealth really does kind of define how dangerous those variant walkers were, because they had no other way. They couldn't just fight their way through the horde. But yeah, I think I would have introduced those variant walkers at the very start of season 11. I wouldn't have done it during season 10 because I feel like that would have convoluted the whole Whisperer arc a lot more. Or not, season 9 on season 10. I would have done it straight off from season 11 because obviously they'd just come off the Commonwealth arc, and Aaron's first reaction to the variant walkers, you know, he assumed they were Whisperers, which to me just kind of goes to show how badly the Whisperers messed them up, you know, down to the Pike scene, down to all these different aspects. The Whisperers were fantastic villains, and personally, I think the Whisperers are probably my favourite group of villains, just for how, you know, abstract they were. I thought they were really well executed, but at the same time, I guess the whole like firearm problem was most like probably just to sort that continuity issue out. Oh shit! Sorry. Shoot. But yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah, I'm being blown up here. Jesus. Ow. Ow. Sorry, I'm just getting quite carried away with this, shoot. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, no, I think when it comes to whole Whisperers and the show, one of the things I kind of liked, but also did find a bit repetitive, is the style of villains that were used. You know, because you had characters like the Wolves, or the Cannibals from Terminus, or, you know, the Claimers, who were quite barbaric and quite, you know, just quite dark. And then you had obviously villains like the Saviors, who were literally just a mirror opposite of our main group. And you had all these different aspects to the series. Like, for me, it was it's quite difficult to try and keep up with them sometimes. Like, you got the Wolves and the Whisperers, but then you've also got other things as well, which I think make it a lot more authentic. And personally, that's what makes me enjoy the show so much. You know, I've got like the Reapers that are very similar to the Saviors, but a bit more military based. The Commonwealth, who are obviously of a very aristocratic, socially based civilization. Then you get, obviously the CRM are also just like that, which we've not really had many introductions to in the main show. All that we've had from the CRM is the scenes they had in season 8. Saving Rick at the end of his last his exit episode, or his the end of his first stint, I suppose. And then obviously little snippets here and there. The CRM has more so been is associated with World Beyond more than anything. But that's just more of a setup to the the type of realms we're dealing with here in this new series, or in this new Rick and Michonne series, which is going to tap into the CRM as this overarching threat of the Walking Dead universe, and possibly even look at introducing the series to some really big lore focal points, such as where did the virus come from. Robert Kirkman's always said that it came from space, which I thought was a stupid answer. I thought it was a stupid answer just to say, oh yeah, it came from space. Because then that's like, oh, if you're going to do it from space, you might as well have aliens. And then it's like, no, that's ridiculous. Honestly, I'm partly glad that the series ended when it did, because with the way TV is going at the moment, I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if aliens did enter because it is sci-fi. It's horror at the end of the day. The Walking Dead is a horror-based drama, so it would make complete sense for the series to tap into something like that. I would personally get annoyed if it did, but it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm kind of glad that they never went down that route, because it doesn't make sense to the series, really. Yeah. Just going to reply to. Hey. Right, I'm going to show my friend this Rick character I have, so. Oh god. Yeah, oh, the jet's still there. I might as well, hop back in. Yeah. Okay, never mind, that didn't go out. Oh god. Yeah, let's just have a bit of fun blowing this place up. Let's carry on talking about the show. Yeah, no, I think like The Walking Dead has had some amazing villains over the years. I think one of my personal favourites will always be Shane. I just loved seeing Shane's decline. I actually have intentions of rewatching the original show, you know, from seasons 1 to 11 as prep for some of these spin-offs, especially the Rick and Michonne one, because obviously this is their story. This is Rick Grimes' story, so it made so much sense to have the final final minute of the franchise, final minute of the series to be of Rick. It was poetry. The first walker killed on the show was from Rick, and so was the last. And the last shot is of Rick's children as well, which is obviously personifying his legacy, which the whole series has been doing really ever since Rick left. You've had characters like Daryl stepping up and doing these epic, crazy, feats of leadership that wouldn't have happened without Rick's influence, because Daryl was never a natural leader. He was one that was inspired through his brother Rick. Merle would have never have got him to do any of that kind of stuff. It was always Rick at the end of the day. Rick believed in him. Rick had faith in him when Daryl went off to go be with Merle again. It's a series that I feel like the series wouldn't have been what it is now if it wasn't for Rick Grimes' legacy, which this season definitely celebrated, and it was even more rewarding to have Rick come back. And I feel like Rick coming back and making that final monologue, or joint monologue with Michonne, so I guess it was a duologue, celebrating everyone that they lost and celebrating their life, even down to Shane, Negan, so all these different characters just being remembered, and it was such a beautiful monologue. And then the montage, as everyone says, we are the ones who live, of just the whole series and its legacy. I thought that was so well done, down to a T. I thought it was perfect. And yeah, this series, it is great because even though this series is a celebration of Rick's legacy, it also commemorates how Rick became the person he was through the people he lost and through the people that are still here. They all learn from each other, which is, in my eyes, what makes this show so special, because it's a series about family. It's a series about growth and perseverance and staying together even when times are at the darkest. And I just love it. I love everything the series stands for. It is my favourite TV drama. Don't get me wrong, I love EastEnders, big fan of that show. I have enjoyed other shows like listing will just go on forever. I feel like with this show, this show's a prime example of why I'm so lucky, why my generation is so lucky to have grown up with this the series and the content that we've had access to for the last 12 years, or last 10 years or such. The 2000s and 2010s have brought the most magical shows, and I'm so glad to have grown up in an era where, even though the real world is at its worst, fiction is arguably reached its best. I feel like it's on the decline because now everything's becoming fueled by agenda and all this political rubbish, which I'm not even going to get into. But we've had shows in the last 10 years. We've had shows like Peaky Blinders, Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, several Walking Dead shows, establishing that show as a universe, a connected universe. We've had Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, that became a movie, obviously El Camino. We've had so many groundbreaking, they're just basically historically memorable shows. Don't get me wrong, not all of them have been great. The Walking Dead's definitely had its downtimes where it's not been as good or as strong as it could have been. I think that a lot of issues these shows have had is just sometimes there's too much to set up. You have too much filler. I like something from every episode just to have one thing that sticks. just to kind of bring it all together at the end of the season. I don't do filler. I don't agree with filler. I don't like it. Filler just feels like a very pointless thing to have on a show. Walking Dead did suffer with it a lot, but you know, hopefully with these new shows and the fact that, you know, the Rick and Michonne one is only 6 episodes, so hopefully we don't have any of that. Scott Gimple, man, I'm trusting you. I know you've made a lot of mistakes in the past, especially with killing off Carl, but you know, I feel like it's only a matter of time before we end up getting content that kind of rights the wrongs of the past, which I'm really looking forward to. I like I said, I love The Walking Dead. I love the show. It's my favourite show, and I'm so happy to be celebrating the end of it. Really, I'm looking forward to going back for Christmas because I will be rewatching the finale with my family. It was a bit of a shame that, obviously, my personal situation, I'm at university now, so you know, even then it's scary how fast and how long things have gone for, because I was in year 7 when I first started watching the show. I was at literally my first year of high school, so it was really special to finish this show in the next chapter of my life. You know, just as that one was such a massive part of the chapter that came before. But yeah, I thoroughly do. I miss the show already. I really do. I don't know why I miss it, because I know it's just getting bigger and better. But I'm gonna miss things like the classic Walking Dead intro, the theme song, and you know, I don't see every spin-off using that, if any. The only one I expect to hear at least a bit of it is probably from the Rick and Michonne series. I don't expect the Daryl Dixon one to have it. I don't expect Dead City to have it at all. I just see that, you know, this show is, and so many classic, memorable things. You know, I actually have on my university lanyard. This was a present from a sixth form friend. The "Don't Open Dead Inside" badge, or as I say it, "Don't Dead Open Inside." That iconic scene. You know, The Walking Dead has so many iconic scenes. You know, the prison arc, Terminus, Atlanta, all these amazing, just trivial moments in TV, and yeah, it just makes me really excited to see where it goes. But also, how can that be honoured and remembered? I just hope that we don't get too much, you know, changing of the formula. I just don't want any of that. I want the show to be remembered for just what it was, and hopefully these new spin-offs will also honour that. And I can't wait to see these character stories continue. I feel like Maggie was a perfect choice to give a spin-off to, because Maggie, obviously, she briefly left the show at the end of season 9, same episode as Rick. However, we all knew she was coming back, but there's still a lot of time to explore with Maggie. You know, just to see where things have gone since we last, well, you know, since we didn't see her for quite a few years. So there's still a lot of things to explore, and the relationship with Negan as well. I feel like the finale really did set up that spin-off quite beautifully, which I'm very looking forward to, because you know, we have that clear bad blood between them, but there's that mutual connection of respect, which is, I feel like, is going to be really good in bringing them both together. I'm very intrigued as to what's going to happen with the whole Annie storyline. You know, Negan's wife. I, for one, don't think it's going to end well in Dead City. In fact, I think there's a strong possibility that Annie's going to die at some point in the show, in the new spin-off, and then it's going to spur the main conflict on between Maggie and Negan. I honestly see the conflict between Maggie and Negan being between each other. Well, that's a bit of a stupid lie. the main conflict of Dead City is going to be between Maggie versus Negan, but then they will come together when they. I personally hope they encounter something CRM, because that'll be their cue into finding. Oh, Rick, you know. Because obviously the only one who knows at the moment is Daryl, because he's even said if he sees anything, if he hears anything, he's going to bring him home. Which, in my eyes, I feel like that is what pushed Daryl onto leaving. Because obviously it's been a year since, you know, he stayed for an extra year with Judah, because she had those worries about him leaving. And then he found, you know, it was time to go. It was time to go look for his brother. Time to go look for his niece's, you know, the mother of his niece. It was such a. It was, yeah, just the way Daryl was written out was just wonderful. Honestly, I think that might be my favourite exit scene I've ever seen. And it's just making me hope that Mick Carter from EastEnders kind of gets something a little bit on those lines. I doubt he will, but I'd love to see a really happy. I know it's not going to be happy, it's EastEnders, it never is, but, you know, have something like a happy-ish ending for the character of Mick Carter. Again, I'm talking about the wrong franchise here, but yeah, I'm very looking forward to seeing where the spin-offs go in a year's time. Hopefully our first spin-off will be here for about April. I'm hoping for. That's my best guess. Nice bit of time between, you know, the ending of one show and the beginning of the next saga, the next, you know, phase of the Walking Dead franchise. Yeah, that's my main hope for it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very good time ahead for Walking Dead fans, because, you know, it's the end of the branch that started it all off. It's very surreal in a way. I feel like the show, the surge of spin-offs is going to kind of feel like a soft reboot of the series as well, taking it in a new direction, but hopefully keeping its core themes and core you know, aspects, but just taking it a whole new direction, which is what I'm personally hoping for. Oof. Cracking fight scene with good old Ricky Dicky Doodah Grimes. No, I don't like hitting dogs. I don't like hitting dogs. I don't hit women either, but, you know. Honestly, now that this series is over, I don't really know what in particular I want. Oh my god, that's just amazing. I would love to see some more like hand-to-hand stuff as well, like fight scene wise. Yeah, in terms of the shows, I'd love to see Negan get his hands dirty again, because I feel like he is still one of the toughest characters. It's just, you know, being in incarceration for 8 years really didn't help him on that, and the fact that he kind of gave up the whole fighting style. Obviously he still knows how to fight, but, you know, just that whole, you know, I'd love to see Negan be a bit brutal again, because honestly I feel like if Negan from season 8 would have gone up against Beta, it would have been much different to what we had in season 10. I feel like Negan would have kicked Beta's arse. Yeah, I genuinely think Negan would have battered Beta. You know, I think it would have been better than the Daryl versus Beta fight, which I still think was an amazing fight. Don't get me wrong, that's probably one of the best fight scenes on the show. But yeah, I'd love to have seen a little bit more fight scenes between the whole Whisper stuff, which, to be honest, I'm fine with, really. I'm fine with what we've got. Certain characters I feel like got plenty of fight scenes, and some I don't think got enough, but you know, you can't have them all. Yeah, I'd love to see more fights with our main characters, especially in Dead City, with Negan and Maggie, and then maybe some more with the Rick and Michonne series, seeing Rick go up against Major General Beale from the World Beyond. I feel like he's being set up as the next big bad of The Walking Dead. You know, now we're living in a post-Commonwealth, post-Walking Dead universe, where it's just a spin-offs carrying the show now. You know, I'd love to see Rick start throwing punches again, and see Rick become the badass that he's been for such a long time. And also, it'll be Rick's first full-on fight in by then about 5 years. So yeah, I'd love to see Rick throw punches and really get his hands dirty and just kick some ass again. Same with Michonne as well. Daryl, I feel like it's gonna happen at some point. Daryl is gonna start getting his hands dirty, and I love that. Honestly, I feel like Daryl honestly has the best punch out of anyone on the show. Daryl's right hand is just amazing. You know, the guy's dropped Rick with it. He's dropped Negan as well. He's dropped Negan once and nearly dropped him the first time around as well. You know, Daryl is just a beast. That was in the water now, nice. Ooh, that was a bit. Yeah, I hope to God we get some more fight scenes at some point. Ah, I wanted to kick him in the water. Never mind. Yeah, I want to punt him in the water. Yeah, punt. But yeah, there's just a load of characters that I'd love to see fight more. I feel like it's just gonna be from the main cast though, like the main 5 characters. You know, Rick, Michonne, Negan, Daryl, and Maggie. Yeah, that's just, I feel, I'd love to see it. I love seeing the fight scenes on the show. I think some of the fights on The Walking Dead are the best fights from TV. Rick's fights, Shane, the Governor, Pete, Negan, Terminus, the Saviors, and all these different characters. You know, Daryl, it's, you know, Randall. The thing with Daryl is that he's more so had just beatings. He's just given out beatings and had fights, which I guess is it ponders the question, you know, who could beat Daryl? Obviously, he's had the fight with Beta. He's had the fight with other Whisperers as well. Like he's gone and, you know, probably scrapped it out a lot of people, but he's also just given out more beatings. You know, Frost and Randall and Justin as well. Justin in particular was, I feel like, a very good fight, because it started off as a fight and it just became a bloodbath. He just battered him outside the tent. I thought it was a very good scene. But yeah, I just thoroughly enjoy the fights on The Walking Dead. Yeah, slap and headbutt. I'm slowly running out of things to say. Okay, that was quite disappointing. I thought they were going to fight. But yeah, I just love to see fights on TV. I just think it's great because I don't believe in fighting for real in real life, but I do believe in having a good old scrap on TV. Oh, that was a bit of a interesting right hook. I've got the quad bike I can use to get. Oh no, I haven't. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I don't know. But yeah, just the show in particular has been really worth selling. I was actually gonna. I wish the finale aired on a Saturday as opposed to a Monday, because I would have honestly I'd have gotten drunk afterwards. I'd have started having a drink whilst streaming my thoughts on the review. I mean. That's weird.
You about to get rained on. Lame man.
Yeah, Rick's just a badass. Yeah, again, I'm running out of things to say because I've just spoke about the show. I do feel like there's certain characters I think should be left for some rest for a bit. They're mainly characters that have just been around for a long time. Characters like Eugene, Gabriel, Aaron. They've been around for such a long time at this point. I think it's only right that they get a chance just to be rested for a couple of years. But then characters like Lydia, who's been around for since season 9, so about 4-ish years now, wouldn't it? Yeah, introduced in 2018. Yeah, about 4 years now. I feel like they could probably have something to do in the spin-offs. Thing is, the characters like Lydia as well also are very involved with Daryl and Negan. So there's nothing saying that she just doesn't come back. There's nothing saying that she just comes later on down the line in another season of one of the shows. Preferably a Daryl one, because I'd love to see more characters get involved with what goes on in France. And also, I wish we got a little bit more in the final episode of Daryl and Lydia, because that was such a sweet duo. Sweet father-daughter relationship. But then obviously the focus became mainly on Judith and RJ, which made sense. It did make sense. But yeah, there's so many actors I just want to tip my hat off to if I had a hat. More so the ones that aren't confirmed to be coming back. So like Melissa McBride, Ross Marquand, Christian Serratos, Josh McDermott. I forget who plays Gabriel. It'll come back to me at some point. Kaylee Fleming as well. I love Cassidy McClincy, aka Lydia. I love these actors so much, and I'll be taking this opinion with me to the grave. The Walking Dead are some of the best actors on British. No, it's EastEnders. The Walking Dead has some of the best actors on TV right now. Pronto, the acting on The Walking Dead is sensational. That's why you've now got Andrew Lincoln showing up in Netflix shows. The Murmuring. You've got him in you know, playing real people. You know, he played Cameron Bloom in Penguin Bloom. That was a beautiful, beautiful film. I watched that with one of my best friends. I loved it so much. Then you've also got amazing you know, actors like Norman Reedus, who are constantly being pitched as for a Ghost Rider in the MCU. He's the leading star of a video game, Death Stranding. You got Jeffrey Dean Morgan showing up on The Boys soon for season 4. That, you know, these actors are just sensational, even when they get given bad scripts. You know, I just love it, honestly. Yeah, I think The Walking Dead is probably going to be better than ever now that the series has ended, and just start afresh, I suppose. And I just can't wait to see where it goes. Oh, that's a shame. In terms of this game and the content I make from this game, I would love to make Daryl as an online character. I'm not sure how I'd do it. I've already changed up my first one, which I'm a bit sad about. I turned him into a really crap version of the Joker from Todd Phillips's Joker film, which I still can't wait for the sequel of that. See, that's something I'd love to see. Walking Dead stars in DC stuff. I know a lot of Walking Dead stars have gone and done Marvel, you know, like Danai Gurira as Michonne, Ross Marquand does Red Skull, and you know, all these different characters. Like, don't get me wrong, I love that, they are amazing, but The Walking Dead does feel very DC in some ways, in terms of tone and, you know, drama, and I love it. I really do. It's ironic because The Walking Dead in the UK is on the same platform as Marvel, obviously Disney Plus. Sorry. Which, you know, does make a lot of sense, considering Disney owns Fox and AMC, Fox, you know, blah blah blah. So yeah, it does make sense. Hopefully that means the spin-offs will also be made accessible, because I do not want to be paying any more subscriptions than I am at the moment. But honestly, I think I will just wind up paying for AMC Plus if I have to, because I have to watch these shows. I have to watch them. If I missed out on any of the spin-offs, I'd be genuinely... I've already missed out on Tales of the Walking Dead, actually. I've got nowhere to watch that on. And that will also be a good influence for future rankings of villains, because obviously Tales of the Walking Dead does has an alpha episode, which, you know, I feel like it's good that you've got stuff like that. You know, you're doing origin stories. I personally found it a bit redundant, because obviously season 9 episode 10 was pretty much an alpha episode, as well as actually season 11 episode... No. Yeah, season 9 episode 10 and season 10 episode 2. Because that introduced Beta's backstory and how how the Whisperer's mask actually came from Beta and his dead bro, which is a very sad and very disturbing fact. You know, the fact that he used his dead brother's face as a mask. I thought that was quite sinister, and that gives me the shivers, because I have 2 brothers myself, and just the thought of wearing their faces is just a bit disgusting, if you ask me. But it was that kind of complexity of Beta as a cat and the Whisperers just made me love them so much. They are truly the most sinister Walking Dead villains. honest to God, they were messed up. I know there was debate about Pamela Milton versus Alpha, which one's more messed up. Yeah, I mean, Pamela did some pretty messed up stuff, but at the same time, she kind of felt like a Governor slash Negan type thing, where she's quite sociopathic in some ways. Hello everyone that's joining, I hope you're all okay. Pamela did very much feel like a sociopath versus Alpha, who was just a blatant psycho. And that kind of component to me makes me really intrigued as to how would Rick Grimes have dealt with the Whisperers. Obviously we'll never know because the Whisperers are gone, and also Rick literally left the season they were introduced in. But that is going to be a question that's on my mind for the rest of my life. How would Rick Grimes have dealt with the Whisperers, literally just coming from, or just a few years after the end of the Savior War? Would he have still carried that same philosophy of, every life is worth something, and you don't need to end a feud in just killing anymore? But at the same time, with the Pike incident, with everything the Whisperers did, would Rick have broke that philosophy? I don't remember. I feel like Rick would have kicked the Whisperers' arse. He would have brutalized them, but I don't think he would have killed any. And I feel like that would have eventually caused a downfall in Rick's philosophy, because Rick, the Whisperers were so dangerous of a threat, they had no choice but to kill them. Negan had no choice but to kill Alpha. Daryl had no choice but to kill Beta, and they were all too dangerous. It was kind of like a Shane. In a way, it's kind of like a Shane situation, where Shane was too much of a threat to keep around. He compromised the group. He compromised the security of the group. He literally tried to rape Laurie. Like, how messed up can you get? So the Whisperers, for me, I feel like Rick would have been like, right, okay, I don't want to do this, but these guys gotta go. And I feel like Rick would have killed Alpha. He would have killed Alpha himself, honestly. He wouldn't have got Negan to do it. I feel like if Rick was still there, they would have done the whole Negan thing anyway, because that's just part of Negan's story. But I do think it's a massive possibility that Rick would have just gone and put a bullet in Alpha's head and then just take on the Whisperers. Because whilst they were very terrifying, because you couldn't tell if they were a walker or a Whisperer, Rick was also very smart and a very good battle strategist. So I personally don't think Rick would have struggled against the Whisperers much, if not at all. Oh my god, this is going crazy. Wait, absolutely. Oh my. Wow. That was a bit dramatic. But yeah, I genuinely think that Rick, even I think the Commonwealth's a different story, because Rick is currently dealing with something like the Commonwealth literally alone right now. As we saw in the final scene of the show, Rick has got his hands tied up, so he has not had time to. He doesn't know the Whisperers were a thing. He doesn't know the Commonwealth was a thing. I think the Commonwealth is a bit more. Okay, this thing's dead. Never mind. There you go. I found them. Yeah, The Walking Dead is just... Yeah, I'll have these discussions going on in my mind until the day I die, because it's just such a good show, and I'm glad it's not over. You know, it's too big of a franchise to end up and just bump off. In terms of, you know, where does the show go after the spin-offs, I still think a movie to just end the franchise. Thing is, I hate to say it, but there's going to come a time where these actors are ready to leave the roles. I mean, Rick and Michelle, Andrew Lincoln and Danai Gurira have already done that. They're coming back to, in effect, conclude the story. However, there's talks of it being a limited series, and also of it being multi-season. I think all of these shows, I don't see any of these spin-offs going past 3 seasons. I think Fear the Walking Dead is probably heading towards its final season with season 9. I don't see it going past season 9. These actors will be ready to leave the role at some point, and then it links question: do the younger generation take over, and do they lead the franchise? Do we have Judith and RJ become the new figureheads of the Walking Dead universe, or do we close the chapter? You know, it's not so much a bad thing that's up for don't get me wrong, I don't want it to end, but I would be fine if it did, if the ending was done right, because all these different characters and all these different franchises have had their natural conclusion. Breaking Bad wrapped up its spin-off. You don't have to keep these going forever. If they do, then that's great. The final episode was definitely a monument to TV, TV of the 2010s in particular, and concluding in 2022. I feel like that's a massive milestone in itself, and it makes me wonder, how far is the Walking Dead TV universe going to go? Because in terms of all the comic book material, they've done it. They've changed a lot. They've not done certain deaths, but that's fine. They've done the whole comic run. They have different ending, and yeah. So where do they go from here? Is it new territory? The CRM, I don't think they're going to be lurking around forever. I think they are definitely the next big bad of the Walking Dead universe. Major General Beale, being the ties to the CDC and possibly looking at a cure and all these different conventions of the show. And I personally feel that the show in its entirety is probably going to be leaning towards either ending it altogether or rebooting the series for a new phase of the. I don't really know what I'm saying here. All I'm saying is, I think the show, the franchise, the Walking Dead universe is probably going to go down the route I wouldn't have it go down with, when that's the whole, the next generation takeover. I would have just done that for the ending of the show, which in effect it has. Judith and RJ, they're still children, but they're also in a much different place where they're quite authoritative. Judith in particular, she's a daughter of Rick Grimes in a way, so it doesn't matter how old she is. She's always going to have that link to just authority in itself, because she's the daughter of the person that saved them throughout the start of the apocalypse. So it's only a matter of time. In terms of something I really enjoyed with the show is that the final 8 episodes is that they really didn't hold back on swearing. And it always annoyed me that, and I'm going to swear myself in a minute here, but I'm just going to use it, that you could show heads being bashed into nothing left, eyeballs being eyeballs popping out, decapitated heads on spikes, the most graphic birth scenes I've ever seen, but you still can't say the word fuck. Where's the logic in that? Where is it? I'm very confused. Like, extremely confused as to why they couldn't say that particular word. You know, first time it's ever said was in the end of season 4. You know, 4 years into the series, nearly 5 years into the series, and they've only just said their first swear. You know, don't get me wrong, they've said other words like, you know, shit, dick, bitch, and stuff like that, you know. But that one, what was the big deal with it? I hope these new shows just don't give one, and they just say it if the writing works. You know, I think it's definitely in the realm of possibility. You know, it was used a lot in the last 8 episodes of the show, and it just made me realise that it made me think that they don't care anymore. The show's ending, so they're just going to say it. You know, every episode there was an F-bomb, and I just thought, good on them. They're not giving a crap anymore. But yeah, it just made me think, what was they doing? It's like, what was they doing? What was so bad about that one particular word when they're showing much worse? You know, it's not that children weren't meant to watch The Walking Dead anyway. And also all these different aspects, you know, like I don't even know where to start on it. Like, the first season literally shown Shane trying to rape Laurie, the governor insinuating he was going to rape Maggie. Carl was almost raped, bearing in mind he's a child. In all fairness, that episode was also the same one where Rick swore for the first time, or like properly swore. And I'm just like, what's so bad about a particular word? Because I know it wasn't the writing's fault, because they had an unreleased scene of Negan literally performing his season 6, season 7 monologue down to a T, because he's got all the F-bombs in it. There's a lot in that one, which just felt right. It felt, you know, accurate to the comics. But nah, you don't know what's going on in terms of all that stuff. It just hurts my brain a bit. But yeah, I'm just really excited for hopefully some new directions. I hope to God they just go full tilt, swear whenever they need to, just don't give one anymore. Pun intended, don't give a fuck. But yeah, I think that the direction of the show is definitely heading in the right way. But yeah. Right, I'm gonna start wrapping up this stream because I've been talking for an hour and nearly 15 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in on all of my Walking Dead content on the main show over the years. The Walking Dead, thank you for everything you've done for the fans over the years. Best show I've ever seen, best show I ever will see. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Peace out.